waiting for? What are we waiting for? Now, stop with the BS rhetoric. Bring them up. I'm tired of hearing about it.
What is your biggest early season concern? Again, 17 games, not much of a sample size in the course of a 162-game season, but still enough has kind of gone wrong out the gate here for the Giants to give you a good little list of things to have concerns about. So want to hear from all you guys out there. 888-957-9570 is the number. What is your biggest concern with the Giants right now? I know our first caller today definitely has a lot of concerns with the Giants. He's tapped in. Richie in Queens, how you doing today, my friend?
Hey, good morning, guys. You can pretty much covered it. You know, I love the fact that Ray, he labors 96 pitches in 5 innings. You know, I spoke a week ago. I don't want to say I told you kind of so, but I told you at the time. Our OPS against velocity is 560. We last in walks. We're last in home runs. We're last in runs, and runs to RBIs. We're defensively. You mentioned Bailey. I'm sick of Bailey at this point. I got sick of him last year. I think he's overrated. He's a decent catcher, maybe a little bit above his exchange. He's lately incredible. His throws. He's such an offensive liability. Ramos is what he was. 3 years ago, I thought he wasn't a major leaguer. He's at that point again. Devers is terrible defensively. We get no length from our pitches, guys. We got a 1 with Webb, we got 2 with Ray, and then we got 3s, 4s. So, and Devers has given us really nothing offensively. And when you look at the guys that we've had, there's nobody that's a B+ there. Everybody's a C and worse, and that is Adames, and that is Chapman. And Devers has really, I really thought he'd be such a gap guy for us, maybe not the home runs, but, contact. Our bullpen, Brubaker, I never want to see Brubaker again. I don't want to see Baraki again. We got guys in the mind, supposedly Seymour and Santos are pitching well. I like Killian. I like Wynn. Walker, I'm worried about throwing 95. So you're asking me, Joe, what am I worried about? They're not a good team. And you brought up a good point. How do we get back? How does this team go on a streak? When a team goes bad and you look and say, we got positives. And by the way, our best outfielder, believe it or not, is going to be Bader. I'm not going to give up on him. He's a legitimate. I've seen him
he's
in
a big
situations. Yeah, and he makes contact, and you put him in good positions. I've seen him come up big, but I've also seen him do what he's doing now, and I'm going to maybe think it's the injury. Yes, Schmidt, maybe we got to get him more. But what's the pluses, like you said? I'd like to see Tidwell there. I don't know who our real closer is, so... Do I sound like a guy that thinks they're going to win 88 games, guys? I said you guys somebody came up with 88. I said they'd be 84 to 85. I don't know. And you know what? When you look at it, everybody's terrible. Everybody. If they win 3 games in a row, boom, they're back in the wild card.
You're so right.
But again, where's the consistency? What are we looking at? Go Warriors. Love you guys.
Yep. Appreciate you, Richie. I love what he said there at the end. There's no consistency.
Brubaker?
And that is going to be, again, that kind of ties into the issue I had in our first segment here, Shas, your last segment, where it's just the constantly chasing 500 here and this team not having the consistency to string enough solid games together to go on the kind of winning streak that playoff teams are able to put together. It's just, I don't see it. Now, we talked about, Rafi Devers being concerned. You mentioned his baseball card. I'm a believer in the back of the baseball card, too. I'm not ready to hit the panic button yet on Rafi Devers. This is a guy who has a history of getting off to slow starts and still turning it around. Even in the slow moments he had last year, he's still one of their better hitters after the trade, which, that's a high bar to clear. If May comes around, we're still seeing this kind of stuff from Rafi Devers. Yeah, that's when the panic button's going to get dusted off there, and we'll be, laying the hand on that until then. So that's where it is with Rafi Devers. But
let me go a step further on Rafi. So to me, like Willie in the leadoff spot's working.
Yes,
Rafi needs to be in the 2-hole. Just keep him there. Stop messing with it.
Yes,
I would put him in the 2-hole. Just stop overthinking this. Look, you're committed to him for how many years? 7, 8 after this.
All of the years.
Okay. Adames, Devers, 1, 2, okay?
Yes.
All right.
I'd do that.
For now, we're just going to go Chapman in the 3-hole.
I agree.
Now. All right? Just for now. Do I like it? Not really. But I don't like my alternative options.
Which there are none.
Arise in the cleanup spot. Why? Because he's going to put the ball in play, and Chapman in front of him will be able to run a little, and Adames. And, I think he'll have a lot of RBI situations. He's a savvy veteran who can hit with 2 strikes.
He's a breath with. What I like about that, Joe, I'm starting to cut you off here on this lineup here. I like that because you do have the righty-lefty mix to start things. Now, they did have it yesterday, the righty-lefty mix with Adames, Arias, Chapman, and Devers, so they kind of flipped things around. But again, I do like Arias in that cleanup spot. I think you're playing matchups really well if you do have those in your top 4. My guess is I'm going to jump ahead of you a little bit here. Your number 5 hitter is probably going to be Casey Schmidt now in your ideal lineup. Yeah, but I'm putting him in left
field. I want to see him play left field.
I don't know if he's ever played left before.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I want to put him in left field. It might be an adventure. Can't be worse than Ramos. His arm, I know, is better than Ramos. And so I want to try it. I think it's worth a try for one day. You don't have many options. Guys are hurt.
Unless you again go into the minor league system and call
I'll get to that in a second. I'll get to that.
That's why I think they need to put Bader on the IL here just as a way to get someone up. But you mentioned he is a big leaguer. They might not do that to him.
Look, while Bader is nursing whatever injury he's nursing, just throw him to the side for now. Schmidt in left field. Give Ramos a couple days off.
Yeah.
Bring up Bryce Eldridge. I'll get to him in a second. Put him at DH first base. Him and Devers are back and forth. JHL and Will Brennan. Bring Will Brennan up. We're wasting our time. We don't need Christian Koss. I got the super utility guy in Casey Schmidt. Either DFA Oliva or figure out what you're doing with Christian Koss. It doesn't matter to me. JHL would be my 7 hitter, or Will Brennan off the bench. Susac in the 8-hole. I want to see it today. Today, let's see it. Susac in the 8-hole. And then bring Drew Gilbert up. Put Drew Gilbert in center field, put him in the 9-hole, double leadoff. He gets the bat in front of Adames after the first inning. We need a spark. We need some young guys. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Now I get to Bryce Eldridge. Dear God, I know what Dave Flemming said. I know what their little PR statement is, and I love you, Dave.
We'll hear from him in a minute.
We don't see eye to eye on this. It's not an easy bake oven. Ding. Players ready. Bring them up to the bigs. Just bring the guy up. He's either going to sink or he's going to swim. We're overthinking the Bryce Eldridge thing. He's clearly tearing the cover off the ball in AAA. There's not much he can learn there, all right? Bring him up. He's not going to be the anchor of the lineup day one. That's what Willie's for. That's what Devers is for. That's what Chapman's for. It's time is good. Bring him up. Just stop making excuses. The defense can't be worse than what I'm watching from other players on this team currently. You need some pop. You need some youth. I don't want to hear it anymore about them. We're slow playing them. We don't want him to be the savior. Well, right now you don't have any answers. You have no answers on the big league team. All right? So let him come up. Let him play. Just stop complaining. Stop worrying about excuses. Stop worrying about how good he looks from day one. Just, if he strikes out, so be it. I'm not worried. He's 21 years old. This is the long play on this one. Let him develop at the big league level while he's already learning on the fly, batting in a lineup where he won't have to be carrying things with Willie and Devers and all the guys who I referenced. Bat him a little lower in the lineup. We need some pop. We need some guys that can barrel the ball right now. And I think he can accomplish 2 things at once. Further his own development and get him up. Look, guys, I know he's going to strike out less and strike out more if he's in AAA versus where he's at in the big leagues. Stop. Just stop. Stop. How many guys have you watched with this Giants team go down to the minors, work on some things, and then come up and have the same problems? You're either going to sink or swim or adjust or not at the big league level. We got to stop it. We got to stop it. If you believe in the guy long-term and you think he's going to be one of the centerpiece guys of your organization, stop with the BS rhetoric. Bring him up. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm just tired. Just play Bryce Eldridge. We want to see him. We don't care. I don't care that he's striking out 30% of the time. Ramos is striking out 42% of the time. What are we talking about? Devers is striking out 2 times a game. He fits right in. Let's just see it. And if by midseason he's up and we don't like it, well, then you trade him. You trade him. You know what you did with Luciano? Yeah, you slow played him. You didn't develop in the minors. You brought him up. He couldn't play. You brought him back down. And then you ended up letting him get taken off your roster for nothing. So, either figure it out with Bryce Eldridge at the big league level or trade him away. I'm tired of hearing about what he's doing in AAA. Bring him up. Bring him up.
Currently, Bryce Eldridge in AAA is hitting .360. He's got the 1 home run, 19 strikeouts, 10 walks, though. I do like that walk number there in 50 at-bats or 60 plate appearances, 10 walks and 60 plate appearances. I actually like that. You mentioned what Dave Flemming said yesterday, and I know you don't want to hear it, but we are going to play what Dave Flemming said yesterday because that is what angered you here. And Shasky, in another life, I probably would have been like, oh, Shasky, yeah, I think Flemming was right. I'm kind of starting to come around on you, though, but I'll explain in a moment. Here's what Dave Flemming had to say, though, about your point on not wanting Bryce Eldridge to feel like he has to save the lineup.
It's probably going to be sort of a ripcord situation for Eldridge. I really think the Giants are trying hard. Bryce just turned 21. They're really trying hard not to rush him because there's a massive big league need. I think they're trying to prioritize his development. They've given him several things to work on. He's making some progress with that. It's been good early signs, but I think they don't want him to have to feel like the guy to rescue this team.
Again, they're trying hard. That was Dave's line there to make sure they are not in that situation. The thing about trying is sometimes you do come up short there. You're supposed to do, not try, but, that's a completely different conversation there. If I'm trying to look at it through their lens, Joe, walk a mile in their shoes, if they really don't want him to be the savior of this lineup, maybe it is as simple as if, another one of these guys in the lineup, whether it's Chapman, whether it's Devers, whether they could start hitting more, up to their capabilities, maybe that then makes it easier for you to bring up Bryce Eldridge and slot him into the lineup around one of these guys who are hitting a little bit better. But the reason why I'm starting to kind of fall in line with your stance on let's just bring them up and happen. I'm kind of starting to, if you were to ask Buster Posey, at the end of March, what's the goal for this team? I think he would say something like, yeah, we want to win a lot of baseball games and compete for a playoff spot.
Okay.
Which, yeah, I'd agree with that. I honestly wonder right now if you were to ask him, based on the way this team has started off the season, if you were to truth serum him and ask him the same question now, I wonder if the answer has changed. And I think we're starting to get to a point. Again, it's crazy that we're 17 games and we're saying this, but the trend that I'm seeing right now is if this team is not going to get back into above 500, if they're not going to get back into playoff contention, if they're going to be chasing this winning record all year long, and then it comes a point where, you know what, stop chasing the winning record and let's just see what we have to work with on this team and in this organization. And that's where, this is where I'm starting to agree with you.
Stop the record. I don't want to hear about the record.
Well, no, because the record plays a part of it, though.
You really think, I'm asking you right now, you really think pitcher X is on the mound, Jared Oliva comes up to the plate, or Bryce Eldridge? Like, really?
Well, no, that's where I'm going with. That's where I'm going with here. That's where
we're overthinking about development and record. He's a better at bat than what you have at the current.
That is why, if you let me finish what I'm saying, my plan right now at this trajectory, the way things are going is, yeah, you know what? Let's just get Bryce in here. Let's get some of these guys up here because this is why I said coming into the season, the playoffs feel like a real stretch for this team. This is a flawed roster full of guys who just haven't really established themselves fully. And the guys who are established, Rafi, Willie, Chapman, they're going to be around for a few more years. They're not going anywhere. One of them might go sooner than the other. That's a different conversation. But at this point, though, no one in the outfield, I think, deserves planting your flag in right now. If you want to sit here and bang on the Ramos table, if you're the Giants a little bit longer, I disagree with it. But you know what? You guys do you. I'm ready to get some of these guys, these younger outfielders up here, whether it's Will Brennan, whether it's Drew Gilbert. Let's get them in here. I want to get Bryce Eldridge up here sooner rather than later. My guess is still mid-May is my predictions when we'll see him. Be cooler if it was sooner.
We're 30 games out?
Yeah, 26. The other guy I really want to see, honestly, almost more than Bryce Eldridge, almost. I want to get Jesus Rodriguez up here. I want to see how he fits in. He's got some positional versatility.
Where's he going to play? They're barely playing Susac right now, and his at-bats have been significantly better than Patrick Bailey's.
Yeah. Maybe a situation Rodriguez gets up here, maybe a DH him a little bit. Maybe, honestly, finally have the gumption to make the move off of Pat Bailey and then
I would love to see that.
and Rodriguez. And this is where I get into the who is calling the shots here, and what is the intention of these shots.
But the problem with the DH thing is that right now you can ill afford to have Casey Schmidt out of the lineup, and they're not playing him in the field when Devers is at first base. So hence why I'm like, well, I've got to get Casey's bat in the lineup. Casey, play left field for a game. Let's just see what it looks like.
You are listening 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, and Odyssey Sports Station, and the home of the Golden State Warriors and Valkyries, always live on the free Odyssey app. Coming to you live from the Laughing Monk Studios. Do
you get what I'm saying with Casey? Like they can't DH. They already have Devers basically is a DH right now.
Yes.
His defense has not been great.
It's meh.
And when he's at first base, fine. So if you bring Bryce up, one of the two is at first, the other one is DHing. Casey has, right now, they can ill afford to have Casey's bat out of the lineup. Just watching what I've been watching the first 3 weeks, they need to find a way to get him in the lineup. If they have to try him in left field just to see if it works, I think they should try it. They owe it to themselves to try
it's a wild it's a bold proposition. I like it, especially if you do want to squeeze Bryce Eldridge in here. And Dave Flemming said something else yesterday that I think gives more credence to let's see what Bryce Eldridge could do at the big league level. Here is what Dave Flemming said on Eldridge not seeing enough good pitches to do damage in AAA.
If you really look at the granular data in AAA, Eldridge is not seeing a lot of pitches to hit right now, and AAA teams are treating him like the guy to avoid. So if you watch that and you think to yourself, well, how much is he learning by being pitched around at AAA? He's not getting challenged by, he's getting the Bonds treatment, like 2 or 3 pitches in the strike zone per game. There is a very fair question of, does that serve his development well if teams, which, I hate, like the minor league should be for development. I hate it when that happens, but you understand it from the pitcher's perspective. Like, I don't want to give up a 500-foot home run. I'm trying to make the big leagues myself, but, the minor league should be about sort of the opposite of that. And right now it's a struggle for Eldridge to see enough pitches to do some damage again.
It's a great point.
No, as you get him up here, and this things I've heard in the past, where I've talked to people who have been around this game long enough as well, it's when you get to the big leagues, the strikes are actually strikes. Like, the pitches are in the zone where they're supposed to be. Guys hit their spots. In the minor leagues, you got guys who are incapable of hitting the broadside of a barn, much less the strike zone. And when you're Bryce Eldridge, you're seeing, you're the Barry Bonds treatment, 1 to 2 pitches a game, as Dave Flemming mentions. You're not going to see that at the big league level. That is why, getting him up here sooner rather than later does start to make sense, especially when you take the importance of winning off the table. Because, again, this is why I had a hard time really taking this team seriously as a playoff contender.
I think he can help them win. See, that's where you and I just maybe don't.
No. I'm not saying that. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's not that he can't help them win right now. It's just whatever he does off the rip, I don't care how it translates to wins and losses. Just get up here, swing the bat, see what you could do. As you say, let's see what this kid's got. Now, you're seeing a lot of other teams calling up these prospects and giving them these big deals.
Struck out 27% of the time in minor leagues.
That's where it's just like, you know what? Get him up here and let him run. Let him run, and then just, if it works, I still think it would. It's going to be ugly at first, but you got to commit to it. And that's where, again, Shasky, the whole, what's the goal of this season? What is Buster's intention? And I truly think this is my from what I've seen around the ballpark, what I've seen, what I've read, what I've heard, just my own thoughts that I'm recklessly speculating here. I think there was a shift in Buster's mindset last season after the Rafi trade where he realized, you know what? I don't think this is the good apple that I thought it was. Like, maybe the first bite, this is a solid apple. The second bite, no, this is a bad apple. And I'm talking about the overall state of the Giants here. I think that's why they made the pivot at the deadline to move off Tyler Rogers, Camilo Doval, stack the farm system up a little bit. Because to Buster's credit, if I were to say the one thing he's been the most successful at since coming here, it's beefing up the farm system.
Yeah, but we haven't seen the fruit yet.
No,
it
not
takes
yet.
Time.
It does. But that's my point, though. I think the focus some point last year shifted from Buster thinks this is a team that can compete now, because he said in the past, you should always be trying to win. Isn't that the goal? I think he learned in real time last year, sometimes you got to take an L now to take a couple W's later on. And I think at some point last year, he realized, this is not a winning now organization. This is you got to win a little bit later organization, and that's where you got to start shifting into the player development. That's where I think guys like Eldridge, Gilbert, Rodriguez, and the rest of them really start to, gain more traction in terms of getting them up on the roster.
I think they're trying to do both. I think they're going to try to win at the big league level, but to your point about it's not even two. That's what every organization in any industry is doing, is trying to develop young talent at the bottom of their company and win at the highest level and make the most profits. Everyone's trying to do that. But getting back to you're talking about win now, win now. If everything was about we're democratically, or whatever the word is, a meritocracy, we're just going to play the best players to win every single night. Why the hell is Jung-Hoo Lee playing every night? He would be a platoon player at best in any other scenario. Why is he playing? Because of the money they gave him prior to Buster even showing up. I don't know what they're trying to prove.
But that's what irritates me about the current state of how things are being run with this organization. And you ask, are you running your organization like a big market club, which the Giants are? This is a big time market. Bay Area is a top 10 market, medium market. Giants are a big market team. They've always spent like a big market team to a degree. If you are a big market team with the deep pockets that you have, you can eat the Jung-Hoo Lee contract. You can.
Well, it's not about eating it. It's well, no, like you don't play him months on end when he's batting 185.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. You're if you're not playing him, then you're eating the money. Because that's what either you're playing him and you're getting your money's worth, or you're not playing him and you're just letting the money go to rot there. And this is a team, an organization that theoretically, in history, has that money to do it. Now, the Giants, they've been scared of big contracts in the past because of this, but a lot of other organizations out there, Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers, they love eating fat contracts if they need to because they had the financial wherewithal to do so.
Nobody loves eating them, but I get what you're saying.
No, but you don't want to, but you have the ability to.
Yeah.
And I do believe that the Giants are of that level. Why they're not operating it like that, well, that kind of goes into my other little reckless speculation that, like, I don't know what their financial situation is like right now.
Sam,
but I don't know if we want to go down that road today.
I want them to just grow a pair and play the younger guys and just live with it. Like, these are the guys you commit. They've committed to Bryce. Either they're going to trade him away and get something of value back, or they're going to play him. Like, I'm tired of seeing what he's doing for the Squirrels, all right, at AAA. If I see another retweet on my timeline of a home run that he hit in a game that doesn't matter for the team I root for, my head will explode. I'm tired of hearing about the loaf of bread that's in the oven. Pull it up, let's try it. And if it's not good, then we trade it. It's pretty simple to me.